which is that one entrepreneur that you dislike the most?
It's natural that you won't like your competition. So
What is it that you would do for the RCB team that you think will make them win the IPL trophy?
First of all, take that slogan out. Isali Cup Namde. I don't know who that idiot was.
Fine, one advice, just in general, to any entrepreneur out there.
anybody's life can change in just 2 years. Just 2 years of the right effort, right place, right time. It'll happen because of the...
So first, let's have Vijay on stage. Vijay, a former cricketer, a well-renowned cricket commentator. He's, in fact, one of the biggest Kannada cricket commentators, and he runs... You can go there. And he runs the largest Kannada cricket commentary channel, which is the Dressing Room Show. He was just telling us that whenever he goes in public and whenever he goes in metro, there is someone or the other who's just recognizing him. I'm so glad you joined us for this show. Thank you so much, Vijay. Then we have Aprameya Radhakrishna, who is a serial entrepreneur. He is currently the founder of Koo, which is a vernacular microblogging just like X. And it is the largest vernacular social media channel, yes? Yes. So, of course, we are going to learn about their journey. We are going to learn about the discussion. But the focus of this discussion is more around sports and the role of vernacular media. So we have one guy from the sports side, which is Vijay, and we have one guy from the vernacular side, which is Aprameya, and we'll see how this conversation goes. So in case you guys have any questions, we'll come to that as well at the end. So enjoy the show. So the first segment, which they weren't aware of until they came here, is the wasabi segment. It is the most fun segment that we have. So we have wasabi here. Do you guys know what wasabi is? Yes? So wasabi, basically, we'll have a wasabi segment where I'll ask them really tough questions. Okay? And if they choose not to answer, they have to take a dab of the wasabi.
What's that?
Wasabi. Wasabi, it's like a
vegetarian.
It's vegetarian. but
Extremely spicy.
yeah,
To hear that.
it is vegetarian, but it is spicy.
If I don't take up the question, is that?
If you don't take up the question, so if you don't want to eat it, you have to answer all the questions. Yeah, Aprameya, are you ready? Okay. First question. So, if in Aprameya's journey, you had Taxi for Sure, which you sold for $200 million back in 2015 to Ola, right? How much of that 1,237 crores that you sold the company for, how much of it did land up in your bank account?
Yeah, so both of us founders had about 35%. So
35%. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Vijay?
I wish I was in Aprameya's. Easy to answer that.
Okay, I'll ask you a similar question. How much do commentators at your level, the biggest commentator in Kannada, how much does someone like you make for one match in IPL, let's say?
I mean, that's a very simple one. You don't call it as a match. Actually, it's per day.
Okay.
We are labor class kind of thing. I mean, with due respect to all the people who work around,
Right.
we are also on the similar lines. It depends on the profile.
Okay.
For my profile, maybe if I have to be very transparent, it's about 50K per day for an 8-hour stint. So,
Wow, okay.
you do about 225 days in a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's the numbers like.
Oh, that's a huge number. Okay, cool. Second question is, if you had to give one advice to any of the unicorn startups in India, which company would that be and what advice would you give?
as in to all the unicorn companies?
No, choose one.
No,
give them
I'm giving it to everybody.
Okay.
As in just try very hard to remain a unicorn.
Okay.
Because of the funding winter, because of everything that's happening. Like out of the 100 odd unicorns that we have, with the lack of funding for growth stage startups and everything, I think it'll be tough for anybody who doesn't have a real business model to really be valued at over $1 billion. Like maybe half of them or even lesser than that will truly remain a unicorn. So
Right.
try really, really hard to remain a unicorn.
Interesting. Okay. Vijay, my question for you is, which sport do you hate the most?
Chess. Absolutely, there's barely anything here, inside and outside. So I'm highly opinionated. So chess, I can't.
Okay.
I just cannot imagine someone sitting for so long and even looking at the chessboard for so long. I mean, lightning chess is fine, but this one doesn't relate to me.
So that's funny because recently we've started a trend here at the Hub of playing a lot of chess.
I can see that when I walk inside, there'll be two people staring at each other. So I'll be wondering what these guys are doing.
Nice, okay. Aprameya, if you had to take up a sport, which one would it be?
As in, I've played gully cricket, nowhere close to what Vijay has played. Volleyball, tennis, table tennis.
One
cricket.
sport.
One sport would be, I would love to play tennis, yeah.
Okay, cool. Which is that one entrepreneur that you dislike the most?
These are easy questions.
Oh. Which is the one well-known entrepreneur that you dislike the most, and why, of course?
Well, I think the WeWork founder, I think.
Indian.
Oh,
Yes,
Indian.
yes. Thank you so much. Indian.
The one Indian founder that I dislike the most. As in, I competed against one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's natural that you won't like your competition.
Okay.
So the Ola founder, of course.
But, but you ended up selling your company to them.
That's fine. I still don't have to like him, right?
It's like the marriage. You don't have a choice in
Wow.
it. Convenience sake.
Vijay, one national level cricketer that you dislike the most, and why?
That's international, if you ask me. National is someone who has represented the state. International is someone who's playing at the highest level.
Right. International, but an Indian cricket player.
Whom I hate?
Yeah. Dislike the most. I wouldn't say hate.
Virat Kohli.
Oh, that's controversial.
You know why? He's too talented.
Oh.
You can't follow him at all.
That's easy way out. That's a very easy way out.
I mean, look at the fan following he has got. He's broken all barriers. I mean, all ex-cricketers are jealous of him. Even I am. So, one guy whom you hate, but you can't ignore him. As they say, you might like him, you might hate him, but you can't ignore him. He's at your face almost all the time. So he's got fans. Dhoni has got fans. Rohit Sharma has got fans. They keep fighting amongst each other. But as a commentator, for me, everybody is the same.
Okay, last question for both of you in the Wasabi segment. You both are Bangaloreans. You guys are born and brought up in Bangalore. What is the one thing you love, and what is the one thing you hate most about the city?
The street, as in all the darshini and the food there, the dosas, idlis, everything I love. The one thing I hate is, of course, that's also very easy, right? Like,
Okay, traffic?
No, so I live in a radius. I've designed my life around a 2-kilometer radius.
Okay.
So I don't really get
Oh, in the
affected
2-kilometer
by-
bubble, you just live there.
Yeah, I just
okay.
live there. But if I have to get out of there, I hate the traffic. But usually I don't. And I hate the allergies that Bangalore has.
Bangalore has,
Yeah.
okay. What about you?
Bangalore has always been a brilliant city to stay. That's what I hate. You know why? People who come from outside, they don't want to leave. They're so addicted to the weather here. And it has drastically changed. I still remember going out for my practice during summers in 96 and 97. I'm not talking too much behind. I used to wear my jumpers in the summers, cycle around from my house to KSA Stadium. During summers, I used to wear jumpers. So it was so cold in summers. Now, even with the AC on, look at the kind of change it has gone through because of the concrete. I honestly say the politicians have spoiled this. Ekka makka ಬೆಳೆಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರನ್ನ ಹೆಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಬೆಳೆದಿದೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ. I don't know, people may not understand the slang here. That's the advantage of having the vernacular. Slang comes out. Left, right and center they have used this. They have abused our city. So I hate one thing is the organized growth of the city. They've screwed it virtually, seriously.
True. I honestly agree with that, but I'm not born here, so I can't. I don't know if my opinion is even valid.
You're not leaving is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's the plan, hopefully. But anyway, this brings us to the end of the wasabi segment. No one had a dab of wasabi, which is sad, but we got some good answers. We got some good answers. But again, the idea of this conversation has to be about obviously sports, but then what is the role of vernacular in really growing sports in India apart from cricket, right? So before we, obviously it's a lot to break it down, but I want to start with you. What is it that really led to cricket's growth in India in the early days, and why is cricket the most prominent sport?
You mean to say the Kannada language in cricket, or just the growth
Just
of
cricket,
the game?
just cricket.
Oh, I mean, cricket has always been a passionate sport. I mean, we had the earlier days, we had the first superstar in G.R. Vishwanath. If you know, you're not from Bangalore, but still you should be knowing. Your forefathers will know about G.R. Vishwanath. So the game has evolved so much. The game has grown so much. People started following G.R. Vishwanath, Sunil Gavaskar. Then later, in 90s, Tendulkars came in, Kumble, Srinath, Dravid. The 90s when Karnataka dominated, India dominated the growth. But actually, if you look at that thing, the 1987 World Cup which happened in India spurred the growth of the game because of Dalmia and others who got the first World Cup apart from England. Earlier, the World Cup was always played in England, white dress and red ball. They moved the game to India for the first time. That's when at least the money started to flow. The marketing happened. But according to me, after 2003, when the television rights came, just to give an example, I played about 100 and 125 odd first class games. My entire benevolent fund was 2.5 lakhs for over a period of 12 years, I'm saying. Now, if you play that, just sit down for 2 games, you will get paid 3 lakhs. So, as I said, the numbers have increased after 2003. There was a committee of cricketers who fought for the rights of the players, and the television rights came in, the money started to flow. That's when you could see the kind of infrastructure which came up. You can see every third city, every second city has got a stadium right now. Earlier it was only the test centers of Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Kanpur, Calcutta. Apart from that, you couldn't even imagine a test match being played in a Ranchi or a Vizag or a Rajkot. So India became, the entire scenario changed because of the money which came in because of the branding and the marketing. Now, I'm sure he will be well versed with the numbers. 80 to 85% of the world market is India. India is the powerhouse. That's how the game has grown. So, we've been a 90s kid. So my first Ranji Trophy was about 500 rupees. I'm very happy to see someone, Manish Pandey, who's playing right now. Is making lots of money. I'm never jealous of everyone, as I said earlier, but I'm happy that the game has grown.
Okay, just switching gears a little bit, coming to the vernacular side for you. Ku officially launched in 2020, but then you've been working in the vernacular segment since 2017. Your startup Vocal, which was working on vernacular, sort of a vernacular Quora, right? What is it that led you to work towards the vernacular side? Because I believe at that point there were not too many of these players that were playing in the vernacular segment itself. And that is also when Jio came in and internet really started booming in.
So even when I was running Taxi for Sure, right? So one side of the market, which was the driver's side, was the vernacular market. Like when we had to take a decision, this is 2011. We had to take a decision between whether we should give a smartphone to the driver or place some hardware for the GPS, right? And we actually chose the smartphone, which was a great thing. But we actually did have to make that decision, right? And in my mind, I was like, will they understand English? Will they understand how to use the smartphone, an app? Is it too complicated for them? But what we realized was, they were just motivated by the money, right? You gave them anything to learn for that money, they would learn, right? But over a period of time, we ran Taxi for Sure for 3.5 years. Towards like the 3rd year, we started thinking about translating the driver app, right? And whenever we did that, sent a message in Kannada, Hindi, the response was much better. They were more comfortable. And in a very hyper-competitive market, Uber, Ola, us, where whichever player could, just engage them a little more emotionally, because everybody's giving them money, they had a slight edge, right? So we started doing that as well. So that remained with me. And I said, okay, more number of people will get access to smartphones, data will get cheaper, Geo also happened. So the basics of internet, whether it's search, whether it is expressing oneself on social media, all of that was designed in an English first world, sitting out of SF or Palo Alto. Can you reimagine what it would be if you built it out of India and for a language speaker? So that's how we started off and started experimenting quite a few products. The first one was vocal. Vocal, basically when you searched in language, you asked a question on Google or anywhere else, there is absolutely zero content in content that had been produced in vernacular. So we said, let's hypercharge this space. We'll just use audio. We'll, the most basic questions, let people come and answer and flood the internet with language content, right? So we did that successfully. We have, tens or hundreds of millions of answers out on the internet now. But just like Quora is a web product, right? Vocal also became a web product. So we said, web you can't make too much money and you can't sustain it. So while the users love us on Vocal, it wasn't like a huge business that you could build out of it. So we said, okay, let's figure out an app first use case. And Twitter for the longest time, even now, has 4 million, 5 million daily active users in India. And whereas Facebook is at 400, 500 million, WhatsApp. So any product that lent itself to languages grew a lot more, was the insight. And Twitter was stuck because the topmost of India is talking in English and everybody goes and comments in English, and all of that is what is happening 95% plus on Twitter. There is some Hindi content, some Kannada content, but it's very, very light and small. So that's why we said, let's go and build Koo for people to come and express in their languages daily thoughts that is accessible by anybody. It is not a closed network. Facebook is a closed network. LinkedIn is a closed network. People right? WhatsApp is a closed network. This is an open network for language speakers based on thoughts and opinions. And that's how we built that.
Okay, so would you say tomorrow X wants to integrate Koo into itself? Would you do that? Or would you want to still run?
We sell to them?
Yeah.
As in, if Elon gives me the right price, maybe yes.
Okay, cool. Vijay, you work in the Kannada commentary segment, and like we were talking about it, you said that the fan base there has been very, very strong, right? But when it comes to commentating in different languages, do you feel like that is restricting the reach that you can potentially get maybe through a broader language like English or maybe even Hindi?
Not really. English is a language which I've learned, so it doesn't come to me naturally. If you look at my language now, I'm not very comfortable speaking in English. But whereas Kannada, it comes easily to me. I can scold anybody, I can use the slang. So whatever comes to me naturally, I'm very comfortable with. It's the same with anybody else. But having said that, you give the mic to any cricketer, ask him to explain one shot, it's not that easy. In English, you can do that. In a regional language, it's very, very difficult. You know what, you go to the age where you think words which doesn't come to you naturally, instead of thinking the subject. That's the first lesson which they teach you when you pick up the commentary. But I am happy doing Kannada commentary. It has given me so much fame, name, whatever. When God has been very kind to me, I don't want to look at English and Hindi as such. I'm very, very, very comfortable, very happy. The kind of fan base which has been built over the last 10 years is phenomenal. Now, I'll just give an example. I went into a marriage hall. I was standing in a queue. There's a grandma sitting next to me. And she just called me. I want to speak to you, I just walked. And then I just went close to her. You know what she said? Now I know what is pitched in line, hit in line. I know what umpires call. She must be some 80-year-old. I mean, look at the kind of impact which has got. Everybody from an 8-year-old to 80-year-old who is very, very proud of their language, they'll tune into Sat Sports 1 Kannada and then they watch the game. Now they can understand the game even more better. I mean, the technicalities of the game, what's the nuances of the game, what's really happening around. I mean, if some Brett Lee or probably, Mark Nicholas or Chirichibana used to speak, I mean, nobody used to even understand what they were saying. I'm not saying they're not well versed with English, but they're comfortable and happy listening to their own language. I mean, that's a kind of impact it has made overall. And for me, the thing will be the regional language, whether it's Kannada, Telugu, Tamil. Now look at the share of the market. It's 6% world share, Kannada. 6.5 is Telugu. Maybe 7.5 is Tamil. The rest is Hindi. 12% to 13% is English. The landscape has totally changed because of the regional language. So, in a way, we are lucky. We are connected to the game. We are happy doing Kannada commentary. We're not anyway influencing the growth of the language. It's a classical language as such. We have nobody, but very happy to be here in this space.
Taking that point forward, when we talk about vernacular content also, even now, say for example, the dressing room show, right? That also exists on a platform that is primarily made for the English audience, which is YouTube, right? What do you think in terms of building, or in terms of the business segment of vernacular in India, more in the lines of is it possible for India to make a vernacular YouTube, is what I'm trying to understand.
So there are some products where you can actually build a vernacular first product, right? And some which have already lent themselves beautifully to vernacular globally. Like, we are talking about Indian languages, but across the world, if you see, 80% plus speak non-English, like Portuguese, Spanish. America actually has 15-20% of their population speaking Spanish today, right? And they probably don't even know English, some of them, most of them, right? So the world is designed that way. As in, the English as a language is popular because the English speakers make most money. That's about it. Otherwise, the emotion that is around languages is very, very different. So to your question on YouTube has lent itself well already to languages. So making a separate, vernacular YouTube won't work because they're already like massive in terms of user numbers. Twitter is a very special case. They were stuck with 4 million users for a long time and even today. And hence, there is a huge opportunity to not just disrupt them here, but also across the world. Like Brazil, for example, where the entire country speaks Portuguese, uses us. The president of Brazil uses us, right? So there you can really expand. And there it's not because they speak multiple languages and they need cross communication. There it's because they want to reduce their dependence on American social media platforms. And that is the truth for top 10 countries across the world, including Germany, France, Indonesia. All these countries, will use us for the localization of not just the language, but also respect for their local rules, local laws, which is going to become even more significant in the world of AI, right? Like even all the AI companies that are coming up are all American. And Elon Musk, for example, he keeps saying all the LLM models are all very woke, right? I keep seeing that people are complaining that even if you ask for a picture, a white man asking for a white man's picture, the AI is not generating white man picture anymore, right? They're being inclusive even in content generation. That'll irk them. So I think there's a lot of evolution that will happen going forward.
But I think to dig deeper into this, what is it that's going to take for more money to start flowing into vernacular? Because again, English is the primary language. Even like when you look at America as a country, there's more money flowing in that ecosystem because because obviously a huge economy. But what is it that's going to take, according to you, for that vernacular side to expand?
As in, Indians have to get richer and they have to spend more. That's when brands will come and spend. That's when Vijay will get paid even more than what he's getting paid. The richer Kannadigas get, the more he will get paid. So I think that's the simple rule of the world. Like, when we started Taxi for Sure, it was 2010 when we thought of the idea. Uber was getting conceived in SF at the same time, a few months apart. But they thought of it in US. they started their first few rides in SF. And it's a rich market overall in America. So they could make a lot of money, pump it into the rest of the world, and they had the luxury of losing money everywhere else. But here, you had to raise money to lose money, right? In the hope that you will win it. So there was no other way that Ola would have, become a leader unless Uber said, okay, now it's time for me to go public and I have to show profitability. If they'd gone on to lose money for some more time, they would have been the leader. Yeah.
Interesting. When we talk about English versus vernacular, even when it comes to sports, right? Why this is such an interesting topic is because, first of all, when we talk about sports in India, it's mostly cricket that comes to people's mind, right? When you look at the sports bifurcation, the top 4 sports are cricket, hockey, badminton, and kabaddi, right? And kabaddi also, I'm guessing it's because of the league that is there in India, because of which it has gotten big. But then, what, according to you, since you've been in the cricket sphere for so long, what is it that's differentiating cricket from, say, a hockey or say a badminton or kabaddi?
See, look at this. Cricket is basically an English sport. Now
Correct,
we are
exactly.
now we are trying to get a regional language to interpret things here. If you look at the terms and the terminologies in the game, the wide, you cannot call it as Agalava Chindu. Literal translation doesn't work here. No ball means illa ball. You can't do that. For a batsman, you can't call Dandiga, Chandala for a bowler. Chandala means someone who is in a crematorium. So it gives you a different kind of a meaning. But what we made sure was we redefined the entire Kannada commentary, which was earlier going on air on the radio. Now, the television commentary is totally different because everybody is watching what's really happening. You don't have to tell what's really happening, but you'll have to explain around it. That's when we got this normal language of Kannada, like how you converse in a day-to-day life, how your friends converse. The target was the college-going students and the school-going students, how they converse. So some of the words like Sundarvada shot is gone, Saik shot guru. It's a normal language what we got right now. So the fan following is only because they could relate to the audience. The pulse of the fans has been understood right now. It took us at least 3 or 4 years to understand that. And as you said, what's the differentiator between this brilliant game of cricket and other sport? I mean, it's not fair if you ask me, if you start to compare. As it is, the game is so popular. I mean, you can't force someone to watch a sport which they don't like. But cricket has been a sort of a religion in our country. I mean, tell me one instance where the entire country will be united, apart from elections, maybe. There also will be a divide. But there's one game which is India-Pakistan, irrespective of your language, region, sex, whatever you ask. The entire nation will be united on that day, India-Pakistan game. So that kind of a game is this. So we are lucky to have played this sport. We are lucky to be in this space, as I said. So Kannada has grown.
Taking that India-Pakistan concept forward, yeah, India-Pakistan.
Virat Kohli shot. Huh? Tell me that. Virat Kohli shot in Melbourne, MCG for. I mean, it goes ages. If you ask me why he became iconic, why Sachin Tendulkar's shot of cut of Shoaib Akhtar in South Africa became iconic, because of India-Pakistan connect only. I mean, no other. Even the World Cup India-Australia played during this 2020, the last one, the 50-over World Cup, it might have ignited the imagination, but the kind of spark won't be there. India-Pakistan is always ahead.
But India-Pakistan also happens in hockey, right? Why is that? What I'm trying to understand is, why is it that cricket is so big, but hockey may not be as big right now? And maybe, of course, it's a push from the government as well, but I don't see them also doing a lot.
One basic thing we'll have to understand is the BCCI doesn't come under the government. So it's a body registered under the Cooperative Societies Act. So any other sport which comes under the government, very honestly, it has not grown. The kind of marketing which has gone for this game is phenomenal. Hockey is a great game. I've got some of my best friends in the hockey team who have been called as Olympians. They've played. I mean, they work probably 10 times more than the cricketers. The kind of fitness they do is unimaginable. Sunil is one of the quickest forwards in the world. Nobody knows about it. Do you know Sunil? No. Yeah, I mean the hockey I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's basically the marketing. It has not come out. It's a sad thing. Only because Saina Nehwal won bronze and Sindhu made it to the finals, that 1.4 billion viewers throughout the world, people know who Sindhu is. I mean, how will you force someone to watch a game or not to watch a game? It's very, very difficult. The dynamics of this sport is so big. I mean, you can't go and explain to an American what a game of cricket is. But exactly, the highest number of clubs are in America. So the popularity depends on the fan pulse, as I said.
I have a point here. So anything that you build around society, right, is a community building effort, right? And community is built top down in any place, right? Like, for example, cricket is watched by everybody important. Tennis, like for example, Wimbledon, the royalty comes and sits and watches. So for everybody else, if royalty is coming and spending time watching, if I don't watch, I'm missing out. So the feeling of FOMO has to build up momentum for anything, not just sport, but for a social network, for anything in community, right? Like in politics, like for example, I think like cricket has network effects. Now BJP is getting network effects, right? So something else will get network effects.
Can I call it a cult model?
So build up momentum initially, depending on who's involved.
Correct.
Those guys have to become, beyond imagination. More number of people aspire to be like that. More number of people become like that. More people want to, follow them.
Correct.
So this will not happen in years. It might happen in decades. Some momentum will keep getting built. Now, Kabaddi, who's watching? Now, unless you get the most popular people, and unfortunately, for all of us, like, in the world of social media, Instagram comes up with something, everybody wants to use it.
Correct.
But if a local social media company does something, it's not so cool. Right. So the whole mindset of, okay, the white skin, whatever they say. So if you get some white skin to watch Kabaddi and be all cool about it, you see Kabaddi taking off. You need to do that continuously for years.
I think the recent fame for Kabaddi has also come obviously because of the league, but then that league which is powered by a lot of the celebrities that are purchasing the local teams, and they're running it.
You make it more, you give it a more global feel. The acceleration, the momentum building will increase 10x.
A Beckham comes and buys a Kabaddi team.
Correct.
But if you look at the game of cricket, anybody and everybody on the street can play. Hockey, you can't do that. Badminton, you can't do. It's not an outdoor sport. Badminton.
You can. I mean, yeah.
No, but to play and aspire to play at the highest level, Tendulkar can come and play on the streets of Mumbai. I can go and play in Bangalore. But that's the advantage of this poor man's game.
Interesting. Okay. Just switching gears a little bit, I want to ask a few fun questions also. Aprameya, as an entrepreneur, you've built so many things. What is the shittiest advice you've ever received?
Shittiest advice.
And maybe if you can tell by whom, that will also be great.
This should have been your wasabi question because I don't have an answer. Shittiest. So I hate taking advice generally, because everybody's context is so different. Nobody knows what I've gone through in life. Nobody knows what I'm going through today. And what my business is going through today, to give me anything close to what is going to help me. So, other advice, I can't think of, because I genuinely don't pay attention to anybody who's giving me advice.
Maybe I'll give you 2 minutes. You could probably think if you have anything. I'll go to Vijay till then. I think this is a burning question that everybody needs to know. How is RCB going to win the IPL trophy? What is it that you would do for the RCB team that you think will make them win the IPL trophy? They have the best players. They have the best. They're the second richest team as well. What is it?
I'll suggest you one thing. I've done a video on what RCB needs to be doing. A 1-hour program on YouTube. So go and watch that. Seriously, I've done that. 1 hour of Not even suggestion, it's advice.
Okay.
1 hour. So that's mandatorily there. First of all, take that slogan out. Isali Cup Namde. I don't know who that idiot was who got this slogan that became viral. And even the players started saying that. I mean, that's the worst thing. I can't even tolerate that sentence. Isala Cup Namde. Take that out. I mean, if you look at that technically, RCB has never had a strong bowling lineup. Never, ever. I don't know who the people who matter, who sit in the auction, no? I can't, seriously. I should stop it right here. I've been a part of the management thrice. I have not won. They'll ask me, what have you done sitting in the dressing room? So, it's not an easy question to answer as such. Or RCB has always had superstars. Brilliant batting lineup. Top-heavy batting lineup. They came close twice. When I was there in 2009, we lost to Deccan Chargers in South Africa. Anil Kumble was the captain. Brilliantly he led. One bad game, we are out. Then 2016, I think Virat had a superb season, 400s. Then we lost to SRH in Bangalore. That was the two seasons where we came very close. But if you ask me, they'll have to, again 1 hour, I'll brief it up for you. Start a cricket academy, build the next generation cricketers, have an academy with one of the best academies in the world in Bangalore. There is value for the word Bangalore. It's not Bengaluru, it's Bangalore. It's RCB Bangalore. It's never changed. So have some sense of pride when you play for the team. You know why? It has got the biggest fan following ever.
Correct.
At least value that. Anybody who comes into the RCB team should know he's playing for a team which is got one of the biggest fan following. Emotional. RCB is not a team, it's an emotion. That's what forever RCB, there's value for that. Today or probably this year or next year, any year they can win. But you need to have a strong team. I'll tell you the difference between the teams which have won 5 times. Chennai, Mumbai, they have done 5 times. The main thing is not leadership, nothing, but the thought behind picking up the team. They had a mystery bowler in Malinga. KKR had Sunil Narain. Any team which has got mystery bowlers in their lineup, 2 people will spoil 8 overs for the opposition. And they had 6, 7, 8 as finishers. You watch the team in Chennai, they have always had Dhoni, Jadeja, Bravo as finishers, no matter what the top order is. Mumbai had Karen Pollard, Hardik Pandya, and one more finisher in the batting lineup, I'm saying. No matter what the top order is. These are the common traits of a winning champion side. RCB was always top heavy. You can never imagine anybody who's batting at 6, 7, 8 would finish the game for you. Never, no season. So that's the crucial point. 2 people who can spoil 8 overs for the opposition with a mystery element and finishers at the bottom. Pick those 2 aspects and then your team will be great.
Do you think RCB has the largest fan following because they've never won?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe, seriously. If they had won, they would have not waited for which year it will come. But if you look at the entire the scenario here in Bangalore, not just in Bangalore, last month they had a pirate being caught. He was wearing that RCB jersey in some Somalia or I don't know. I'm not joking, seriously. That happened. If you look at the t-shirt, that RCB, people wear that with pride. I don't know where the fan following comes from. Even I have tried to explore that and I've kept asking fans, Yakarappa Ishton fan following. They say Bangalore name. It's not for an individual, it's not for the team, but there is something in the name Bangalore. That's what they say.
You know what? When online, whenever I say Bangalore, people are just shouting at me saying you have to say Bengaluru. It's not Bangalore.
No. Bangalore is actually the name of the city. Correct. But the team RCB is RCB Bangalore. They haven't changed it.
The nostalgia.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
The advice I didn't listen to is from my father. When I said I'm going to start up, he said don't. He said you have a good job, you're getting paid. Please go get married, have children, and live life happily. So I didn't listen to that.
Wow, I want to go deeper into that because that's touching a nerve. Why do you say that was that advice you should have listened? Oh, that is the shittiest advice you received.
I received, but I didn't listen to it.
Okay. But why do you say so? I know you had successful exit, but at that point you obviously didn't know about it, right?
No, so as in at that point in time, I was working in a real estate company, and I used to go to my CEO, and I kept giving the CEO ideas every other day, right? And they weren't really interested. They were just interested in 10% growth every year or whatever that growth is. And I had a lot of energy. Like whatever work I had, I could do it in a couple of hours, and then I would be, just wasting my time. So that's when I thought, okay, I should go and, just put all this energy into something that I really want to build, and maybe it'll work. And I wanted to give myself 2 years for that. Either it becomes something, or I'll know something is happening, or I just know that I'm not cut out for this, and hence I'll go back to a job. So this is the exact context I had given my parents as well, saying this is what I'm going to do. To that, this was the response, saying don't do it. We're not from a business family. You won't understand. It's very risky. All of that is true.
Okay.
But I still wanted to give myself an opportunity.
So would the ultimate advice, I know you don't like taking advice, but I'm sure you want to give advice.
No, I don't like giving advice either. I don't know anybody's context.
Fine, one advice, just in general, to any entrepreneur out there.
So at the pace at which the world is operating today, this is not advice, this is an observation that I'm sharing that people can use, right? Anybody's life can change in just 2 years. 2 years of the right effort, just 2 years of the right effort, right place, right time, it'll happen because of the world moving at a certain pace and the kind of innovations that are happening. Taxi for sure basically happened in 3.5 years, the entire journey, right? And we were at the right place, right time in those 2 years of the first initial journey. Coup also, we were just building on our own, but we put the effort in the right space where I didn't know Twitter was not going to listen to the government. I didn't know, Elon would take over Twitter. We don't know anything. But if you just lay back and say, okay, I'll just plug into something that's working, I'll just live life will give you that. But if you put yourself in opportunities and put in the effort, 2 years is enough.
It's just about the right effort and right opportunity that you should be taking. Okay, one question for both of you before then we'll open it to the audience as well. Now that AI is coming into the picture, you have YouTube is your primary platform, and YouTube also has a feature now where you can sort of English content, you select what language you want, and then the content gets switched to that particular language, right? So that sort of AI and automation is coming in now. Starting with you, do you think that is something that you believe in? Have you looked into AI at all, and do you think that is something you believe in?
I have no idea what you're saying. Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay.
Technology and me doesn't go to hand in hand.
Aprameya, what about you?
Yeah, we were just, I was asking you a question. How much content have you produced in your voice, in your language, your style, in Kannada, about every kind of match that's there? Vijay was just telling me that, he was commentating in Kannada about a West Indies versus Pakistan, Australia. West Indies, Australia match in Kannada, there is demand, right? Now, all that he said about every West Indies player, all he said about an Australian player and all the Indian players is now recorded, right? Tomorrow when AI takes over, he will not have to sit and make the effort. He can commentate on 100 matches all together and get paid for it, right? Because the human element can't be taken out. People want to listen to Vijay. How do they get Vijay? Because of what Vijay said in the past. He can intervene once in a while and say, okay, this is a new thought I have, and hence add it into the database of things that he said. All he has to do is that. Commentating and being live can be taken care of by technology.
I'm happy if I'm making money, I'm not losing my job, so that's what the fear is, no? AI will take over human element.
No, but technology can't build itself without a reference of humans, right? Can it create its own favorite humans going forward? Okay, Vijay 2.0, who sounds like Vijay but is not Vijay, Maybe. But the fan following of Vijay will, so the more entrenched you are into today's world, the more relevant in the AI world also you are.
So, okay, so in the back end, AI can work really well, but in the front end, there has to be a face to the AI, is what you're saying.
Because the consumer is human.
Correct.
As in, if you just say a robot is commentating, it's no fun anymore.
Correct.
There has to be Vijay Bharadwaj. There has to be.
There has to be Vijay abusing a player. And
That's it. You see. That's where you become viral in your language, I'm saying.
Okay. Last question that I want to ask you: what are your thoughts on the other vernacular social media platforms that are currently active in India? Like you have Josh, you have Moj, you have Tiki Taka as well. So it's again Indian TikTok. All of these Indian TikToks exist.
Takatak, you mean?
Tiki Taka.
What is
no.
Tiki Taka?
Okay, could be Takatak as well. I'm sorry, but yes. What do you think of these vernacular short form video platforms that exist right now?
Yeah, so, okay, I'm going to use first principles. When this whole short video thing was becoming a rage, we also were going through our own thoughts on should we start one? Apart from microblogging, should we do a short video app? And, even today, if you go into Kaban Park and you see short video creators who will be dancing, will be, taking a video of them skating or whatever they're taking videos of. I used to go and ask them, where are you going to upload this video? Right? They used to say Instagram, right? And TikTok when it was live. TikTok, Instagram, nothing beyond that. Then my second question would be, would you put it on Josh, Moj, Takatak? They'd say, wo sab nahi use karte. Like, it's demeaning for even the common man to use it, is the perception. Now, go back to what I said earlier. Like, what the white skin made is awesome, is one, psychology. Second is, all the influencers are there. Bollywood guys are there, everybody's there. They're making reels there. Why should I go on any other platform? Right? So hence, first principle wise, it would never work. Right. Like unless you went and paid everybody forever and you got network effects, payment never works on social media, according to me. So I wouldn't do a short video app. In today's world, I think Reels and YouTube has the money to do shorts. TikTok across the world is a rage. So I think they've captured the market. You have to do something special. Like you have to do something different.
Interesting. I know that you're friends with Umang, who's the founder of Josh. Have you given him this? Have you spoken about?
Spoken about it. As in, I think they have certain plans that I think they will double down on and make sure that. See, you should never give up. Is what I said the fact? Yeah, everybody would agree that you're using Reels, but what is that? I also said you have to do something different.
Correct.
What is that something different? There is always something different you can do in this world.
Correct. Okay, interesting. Let's go to the audience now. Audience, you have your you have your card, white and blue cards. Yes. The white is a yes and blue is a no. Okay. So my first question is, how many of you consume content in 3 or more languages? Like not at the same time, of course.
White is what? Yes.
White is yes, blue is no. 3 or more languages.
3 or more languages.
Okay. Okay, more yeses than no, but okay. Okay, cool. How many of you consume vernacular content regularly? Apart from English and Hindi, also we'll leave out of this. Apart from English and Hindi, do you consume vernacular content regularly? Oh, that's amazing. Okay. And okay, this third question I want you guys to also think about and answer. Do you think the push for vernacular content and vernacular media, and if it really, as it's going, if it really explodes, do you think it is going to create a divide in society amongst people that can speak a particular language and not speak a particular language? Increasing, yes. Oh, a lot of people are saying no. What do you guys think? So, for example, if you're talking in Kannada, there's a certain number of people that are going to be listening to you. Do you think that is restricting that society itself or that community itself?
I don't think so. Regional language as such, I mean, Kannada is a classical language, it's not a regional language, if you to be precise. That has got its own fan following, the respect for the language is always there. So, I mean, it has to be mutual. I need to respect Tamil, I need to respect Telugu, I need to respect Bhojpuri. As I was talking to Aprameya, I was telling I love Bhojpuri commentary because it's so hilarious. So take the positives. Why divide amongst yourself? When English have divided us into pieces, why do you want to do that again? Know your history, learn from it, and accept each other as it is. I mean, it's not that easy, as I said. Language is definitely is going to break people, but there has to be a concentrated effort not to do that. As long as you're respecting each other. I mean, I sit with some of the best commentators in Tamil and Telugu. We all lot together. As I said, 40 cricketers are in the same arena, in the same lounge. But we never fight with each other. It's all complementary as such. So the fans fight, but at one point of time, and they'll also realize that each language is different. Each language has got its own status. We'll have to accept and then move on. I don't think it's going to divide.
Okay. You?
As in, is your question about
is the increase in the vernacular usage going to keep communities restricted to themselves?
I think they're very happy that way, right? Like Kannadigas amongst Kannadigas is a different feel than the Kannadiga talking to a Telugu person or a Tamil person. So each is a different flavor. For a Kannada community to be together digitally, there are hardly any products. Like, where do you have a pure Kannada opinion platform apart from Coop, where everybody can just come and talk? Correct. It's a very healthy place to be. In an otherwise global world which is pushing English content, and if you don't know English, you're not cool kind of a narrative. And you're not cool because you're not part of the money-making game that the English world has. That's why you're not cool. Otherwise, the culture is so rich. There's so much more to enjoy. If you forget about the money aspect, talking and living in your language, experiencing your food, being with people like you is a spiritual experience. Like when you take away the money aspect of it, right? Interesting. So everything is not measured by financial success. Some things are supposed to be just enjoyed.
You know, when Tendulkar was the captain, how many were there in the Indian team from Karnataka?
No.
6.
Wow.
Imagine, there's always a divide, and the debate was going on whether Mumbai, Karnataka divide was always there.
Okay.
Why Mumbai dominated? But Tendulkar, being the captain, he respected the players. Nobody could dispute what Rahul Dravid brought to the table. Anil Kumble, Javagal Srinath, Venkatesh Prasad, Sunil Joshi. At some point of time, Dodda Ganesh and David Johnson played, Sujit played, then I followed. So the language never came into the picture there. It was at that level purely talent and the contribution to the sport as such. So at some point of time, people also will realize language is just one part. Ultimately, the human being will have to be respected and the talent will have to be given its place.
Okay, interesting. I want you to shout out the answer for this one. Which sport, apart from cricket, do you think should be the next big sport in India? Badminton, paddle, hockey. What? Football. Okay. What do you think is the best future in India now? Next sport. Of course. Why don't you start?
I think badminton is growing, and I want hockey to grow. Football, they gave a push that because of the ISL, but never took off. I mean, I don't think we are genetically or physically designed to play that kind of a sport. Because when it comes to fitness, maybe Sunil Chhetri is one of the fittest guys. I don't know. I mean, there are better footballers also who are really fit. But when it comes to sport, basically we Indians are skill-based. That's why we are excelling in cricket. It's not a totally fitness-based. So if you look at badminton, because of the change in the rules, India is able to compete with China, Thailand, Malaysia, and Denmark, you name the country. They're becoming world beaters right now. The doubles in, if you look at the world stage, earlier it was not the case when Prakash Padkone played, or Vimal Kumar or Gopi Chand. The rules was totally different. Fitness was, the demands of the fitness was totally different then. So that's why they're legends. So Indians are basically known to be skillful. If you look at that way, the dynamics of the badminton has changed. So I think future will be in badminton. It should be. The youngsters are picking up. I mean, you look at the kind of mushrooming badminton academies throughout the country. It's huge, phenomenal.
I agree with badminton, but I also think Neeraj Chopra in athletics, javelin, all of that in its own way will pick up pace. And everybody said paddle, right? Like coming back to what I just said, it's a recent game, but because Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf play, everybody.
So white person sport again.
Correct. They say you take any sport, which is a short game, can be broadcasted, can have a fan following, and then you inject brand value into it, it'll all do well. It's just that little twist. That
volleyball is doing well. Right. Anything is broadcasted as televised, that will grow definitely. Kabaddi picked up because of that. From the local streets to Star Sports One Kannada, Star Sports family, they did a wonderful job. They have a huge fan following for the Kabaddi right now. Wish is different. I mean, it might. We want Neeraj Chopra to inspire many of them to take up javelin. Correct. But that's a wishful thinking. It might happen, it might not happen in our country.
I think the biggest thing that I took back from this conversation is that India needs, for other sports to grow, India needs BCCI for every sport, I'm guessing. Right?
BCCI
model, yeah.
So they need to market the game. Every game is beautiful. I mean, hockey is one of the toughest sport. You need to be supremely fit and exceedingly talented. But look at the administration, honestly. I mean, there's fight. The Wrestling Association, the fight is going on every now and then.
Correct.
It's been there for ages now, if you look at that way. All athletic sport, there are people who work even harder than the cricketers, but why they're not getting into the limelight is because of the kind of marketing they have not done. As simple as, don't blame the sportsmen, don't blame the athletes, blame the administrators.
Okay. Now we'll open up for the audience questions. Audience, any questions that you guys have? There.
Hi. So my question is, do you think that AI can give birth to a new language? Coming back to the point that we said, cricket has become so big and evolved because it was considered a white man's sport, right? And there were certain terms which can be only used in English and understood by a wider audience. But do you think the opposite action can also be true, the opposite dynamic, where we use vernacular languages and the usage and the virality which spreads among the youth and the connection that the youth can make with the language and the excitement factor, because you also mentioned that you love your Bhojpuri commentators because it's hilarious, right? First principles, because you make sense out of something right there. So can this also be true?
Maybe you start.
Can AI make new language is your question, right?
Can AI make new languages and can it be adopted?
Yeah. No, so okay. Then I'll go a little bit into the future, not too far, but just like we have FOMO over using a smartphone, or soon to be Vision Pro, there will be FOMO to get a chip in our brain as well. And at that point in time, any language, language is just a set of letters that you've made up, and then a certain sound that you've written, and then suddenly it becomes a language. And you can go, with AI and a chip in your brain, you can start, at this moment, we could probably, if you had a chip and I had a chip, we could make a language of our own and just communicate. It is possible, right? And everybody, I don't know the average age in this room, but looks like 20, mid-20s, right? And you don't want to be a part of a social media app that is used by the 50, 60-year-olds, right? Not even the 30-year-olds. You want your own place Like Snapchat became a rage because the older guys felt the UX was too complicated to use and it was disappearing pictures and they didn't have a use for it and all of those things, right? But the youth had a use for it and it was cool and everybody came to... So a social media app in English itself had a different design language which became cool. So these are nuances, like an actual language to a product having its own language to something else. Everything is possible.
Do you want to add anything to that? No? Anyone else? Any questions? Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Vishnu. I'm from Go Sports Foundation. So my question is first to Mr. Aprameya. Right now, the current sport industry, or let's not only talk about cricket. There are a lot of sport being played in India, and the attention or the attention span towards the other sport is not as much as compared to sport like a cricket, a badminton, or a sport that is being telecasted. Do you think Coup can help that out? Point that I
So
want
do
to
you
put it
think
out.
Coup can help explore other sports using vernacular languages? Yes?
Somewhat.
I think any social media, in Coup or otherwise, is a distribution channel. It'll give you, so if you say something on Coup versus Twitter or X, you'll reach the English audience on Twitter. You will reach a totally different audience on Coup. The same thing you've said, right? So what social media does is gives you reach. What needs to be done is the content format, how the sport can be shown, right? All of that can be changed. Now, YouTube always existed, but YouTube wasn't the one who innovated short videos. They did long videos. Short video was innovated by TikTok and became a rage. Now, if all of us are sitting and swiping random videos which we don't even think about a few seconds later every day, and we're probably spending half an hour to an hour, if not more, just doing that, right? Now, can you produce content in the most consumed manner, which can be put on these distribution channels, is the way I would look at it, right? Now, volleyball, if there's, whether it's the Volleyball Association or people passionate about volleyball, make short video content and put it on platforms which everybody's spending time on, that is the way volleyball will take off. And you add the little bit of celebrity, little bit of controversy, little bit, like all of that is a strategic play to be done by somebody who cares about volleyball enough to make that happen, right? Coup will add to it the language bit and distribution. But we are not the content producers and we are not the sports guys. So, there's distribution that we can add, yes.
Any last questions? Yes, there.
So my question arrived from the second last sentence you said. You said that Instagram Reels would allow you to discover things that you probably are not even following. Do you think that's an issue?
Yeah, it's only the start of the issue. Like tomorrow when you're looking at, when you're consuming social media content through Vision Pro or the Android equivalent later, like WhatsApp, right? Like for a long time, you never got anything apart from people who would message you genuinely. Now, WhatsApp has unnecessary pings from businesses. There's that status thing that they've done, which I think is very random. It has, WhatsApp is known for one-on-one communication. They stretched it a bit with groups which worked, But now saying, okay, I'll also be Twitter in WhatsApp as well is just, desperation, right? So I think each platform is made for a purpose. The more you stay true to it, people will even pay for it. Now, the more commercialized a platform becomes, now you're seeing random stuff, all of the, there is an opportunity for a new guy to come and say, I will be earlier Instagram. Now, is that something that some people will use? Yes. But is it enough to create network effects? Is something that an entrepreneur has to take a shot at, right? Facebook version 1, right, where only family and friends, whoever you added, that content you see, the more this guy, the bigger guy commercializes and makes more money, the more
Opportunity.
there is for somebody to come up with something new.
Telegram's like an example. Right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, awesome. Last question.
I think a lot of people here and in our audience is Gen Z millennial, right? So excluding the top 10% of what we might define as success in athletes, cricket and beyond, and in creators and influencers. If you're young and 18 years old today, or just pre-18, and you're trying to decide, I'm talented, I want to build a stable career with a potential upside. What might be a more realistic decision? Should I become an athlete or should I become a creator? Since we have media and sports as a background.
But that's, I don't know, that was by chance. Sport came to me naturally, as I said. But not everybody is built to become a sportsman. Physically, mentally, emotionally, everything is a challenge there. Same with entrepreneur, I don't know. I mean, they go through different challenges. But sport is something totally different. How many of them play the sport at the top level? Everybody plays at the bottom level. And when you look at the pyramid, there are very, very few people who excel at the top. Dhoni or Tendulkar stayed at the top for 20 years. Kumble was there for 18 years and nobody could take his place. I'm just giving an example of the game, the cricket as such, I'm saying. It's the same with other sport also. So not everybody is built. So at a very early age, you should be able to understand that this guy can become an athlete. This guy can become a cricketer. That basic skill, because sport is a very short career. It's directly proportional to the age as such. But whereas an entrepreneur, he'll be in a better position even after probably crossing 40, 50, 60, anytime they can. I mean, you never know the luck as such, as I said, never give up. But sport is not that way. You start at the age of 12, maximum 16. After that, if you don't make it to a certain level, you're gone. So I've seen many instances where people quit at 16, 17, they want to take up studies because they realize that they can't make it. It's not giving up, it's actually being very practical. So the insecurity follows at some point of time. So it's a big challenge for sportsmen, the parents as such, to make a decision whether to allow the kid to play. So what my take is, I can't advise, I can't suggest, but play the sport for the passion. If you realize at some point of time it's taking over to the next level, continue it. Otherwise, still continue to play the sport. Why do you want to give up the sport? Play at the club level, play at the amateurish level. Why do you want to give up the sport? Badminton, now I play 10 games a day. Badminton, I'm not a badminton player, but I play because for the fun of it. I go and kick a football. Why do you want to stop that? I don't know about entrepreneurship because I've never been one. Never been successful. I had 3 or 4 companies which flopped big time. I'm very happy to say that. He'll be in a better position to make you understand about that.
Yeah, so if it's a choice between these two things.
A pragmatic career option, assuming you're not going to be in the top 10%, right? Like playing at a club level. What's more realistically viable, starting out as a creator or as a mid-level athlete over the next 2 decades?
So I'll give a slightly more high-level answer to this. I think the more you express who you are to the world, the more successful you are. Now, what should you express? That is more internal. Like, to understand what you're good at, naturally is very important before you express it to the world. Like if I'm a bad cricket player and cricket is doing very well, but I still want to go play it, you're expressing the wrong side of you, right? At the same time, if I'm an awesome singer and I realize it very early in life, and if you go and express your songs and your singing to the world, you might have an opportunity. Like beyond your effort, the world has to conspire to make you successful also, right? So, but at least you've done your effort of putting the best part of you out there. Now the world can appreciate it and put you wherever they want to. But it's very important. This is not a choice of creator or a sportsman or 10%. If you're self-aware and you express that to the world will put you in the 1% of that particular thing that you've chosen.
With a cricket bat, he's washing the clothes. He's in the wrong field. I don't know how many of you remember that ad. If you're a brilliant singer, as you're saying, and you've chosen C as your career, it's not going to happen. At some point of time, you'll realize you're cheating yourself. One corner, you'll feel that you have not done justice to yourself. Because you're always worried about the society. You're always worried about someone else. You don't want to be your own self. To break that barrier, you'll have to make a decision. You'll have to take a call. At the end of the day, money is not important. It's not everything. It's important. It's not everything as such. Some people who break the barriers, they go to the next level. They're happy inside.
Okay, awesome. With this, we come to the end of this. We come to the end of this this Barely Opinionated Show. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you so much, Aprameya. I really hope you guys heard something interesting, learned something. I learned a lot from both of you. There's a lot of takeaways. So thank you so much for joining us.